I'm sorry to tell you this, but skipping prepping your skin for your makeup is not just costing you your makeup look, it might actually be costing you money. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to prep the skin, how to find the right prep products for you, as well as everything that can go wrong, like all of the problems, my best solutions for them, because I think when you're prepping your skin, there's just a lot of variables happening. And again, a lot of things can go wrong really quickly. So I'm going to be giving you like my best tips and tricks in today's video. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Amanda. I've been creating beauty content for a little over 7 years now. If you enjoy the video and you find it valuable, definitely make sure to subscribe because this is the start of a new series on my channel, which I'm really excited about. First of all, I think primer isn't what a lot of people think it is. I like to think of primer as less of a singular product, and I like to start thinking of it as a process. It is all the different steps that we take in order to get our skin ready to receive makeup. So it's actually basically our entire skincare routine. When our skin is soothed, hydrated, moisturized, our makeup is way more likely to look hydrated and moisturized. Ultimately, I think where so many people go wrong is everyone is just paying attention to the last product that they put on their skin. But again, it's way more about the entire routine rather than just one singular product. So whether you like it or not, it's actually a conversation about your entire routine rather than just the last singular primer that you've been using. So first of all, like what would a very basic routine look like? It starts with cleansed skin and SPF. That is literally it. A very basic priming routine is a very basic skincare routine. There are certain sunscreen formulations where you really don't need anything else to actually prep your skin. If you're like me, I do like to do a little bit more. So this is what I do. Cleanse my skin. I go in with a Milky Emulsion or toner. And for me, this has been a real game changer in prepping my skin for makeup because it allows me to have a really beautiful glow to my skin without a lot of heavy product, which can often lead to all of the problems that we're going to talk about very shortly. Going with the less is more approach here and focusing on the textures of a few products really helps, not just with our makeup. I think it's better for your skin. So after like my milky toner or emulsion, I'll do a light moisturizer, SPF, and then go into immediately foundation. Or after SPF, that's when I would add a primer, like a specific item marketed as a primer. So wildly, primer as a singular product is the most optional part of my makeup prep routine. It's kind of wild. All of these steps that go into my skincare routine have way more of an impact on prepping my skin than if I were to just wake up, put on a $50 primer, and then put on my foundation. But why is that? Our skincare routine is often correcting the problems that we are trying to correct with a primer. So for example, if you're going in with a dewy moisturizing primer, oftentimes our soothing serums or emulsions are going to be taking care of what that primer would already be doing. And more often than not, those formulas are way more effective at giving us a long-term result. Another example, if you have oily skin, for example, a mattifying sunscreen oftentimes might actually be a lot more effective than a purely mattifying primer. Not adding another layer of product on top of something, the less variables end up being the best. So let's go ahead and talk about like some common issues that we consistently see come up when prepping our skin. A very common one is, why is my makeup sliding off my face? We're definitely going to talk more about this one later because I think layering products is really huge with this. But my main tip, and I know that a lot of people are not going to be happy to hear this, I understand because it's really annoying to have to do this, but it really works, which is why I go ahead and say it anyway. Let the last step in your skin prep routine, let that last product sit on your skin for at least 10 minutes before you go into your foundation. Very typically, that is your sunscreen. So if you are applying your sunscreen all over your face and immediately going in with your foundation, that could be why your makeup is slipping and sliding, not only throughout the day, but while you're putting on your makeup. And not only that, it's probably costing you money and you're not even realizing it because your skincare can very quickly dilute your foundation, your concealer, your liquid blush. It's not only crucial for your sun protection as a whole to have that time to set down on the skin, but it's also crucial in the makeup that goes on top of it that that product has had time to completely set and adhere to the skin. We'll get back to that one in a second because I think it's really important, but let's talk about makeup pilling because this is really, I think, the bane of a lot of our existence. Like when your makeup pills, it's kind of one of those things that it's either not noticeable enough that you just have to kind of deal with it, or it's like a go to the sink immediately and take off all of your makeup kind of thing, which is very frustrating. Like for me, if my makeup starts pilling, I can like feel my heart start pumping because I'm like, it's a make or break kind of moment with your makeup. So if you don't know what makeup pilling is, it's essentially when you get those like little balls of makeup or flaking product on your skin. And very commonly, I've at least noticed it, that it's kind of around the perimeters of the face. And there's a very specific reason why that is, and we'll talk about that in a second. There isn't a lot to do about it once it starts happening. So that's why like prevention is really key here. If your skincare and your foundation products are not compatible, this is when a lot of pilling can happen. And I know this is not great news for a lot of people because I think, again, a lot of us think of our skincare routine and our makeup routine as like two separate entities, and we're not really thinking about how these products come together for a full look. But again, that's why I started this video. I want to start thinking of these two things more as one general skin prep kind of process because they really play into each other. A big example of this, and I think what a lot of people often see, is if you are using a very dense silicone-based sunscreen, and then you go on top with a water-based foundation, for example, silicone and water very often separate on the skin and can create this kind of mask-like effect that, one, doesn't look very natural on the skin, but again, can also pill very quickly because those two layers are kind of just gliding on top of each other and never really have a chance to like homogenize. So an example of this would be if I went in with something like the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen, like very heavy silicone based product. And then I went in with my Kogendo Aqua foundation, a water-based foundation. That would be just like a recipe for disaster. To start looking at each of your skincare products, make note of the makeup products that you're putting on and when you notice your makeup pilling. And that leads me to literally look at your skincare ingredients. Dimethicone is a huge red flag oftentimes, especially if you have a lot of water-based makeup items. But you know, dimethicone on its own isn't something to be worried about necessarily. And I should say, all of these ingredients I'm going to talk about on their own, there's nothing wrong with them. But if you've noticed this problem happening consistently, then I think it's time to look at these individual products. But ingredients like shea butter, lanolin, petrolatum, dimethicone, all of these ingredients are really good for creating a barrier around your skin. So it really locks in moisture. So incredible for like the winter time, for in general healing your skin, but not good for a makeup prep product because again, they create this barrier on the skin and it can make it very, very awkward for the makeup going on top of it. So again, like I love these ingredients. Like I really love every ingredient I just talked about for a skincare routine, but not necessarily as a prep product for my makeup. And again, a lot of this is very dependent on the foundations and the products that you're using once you actually have prepped your skin. A big one, and again, this is why I think not properly prepping your skin can actually like be costing you money. We are so often using way more products than we need to be when using our skincare routine. Like the great irony is that we're all not using enough sunscreen, but we're using too much of the other products. And I'm even like this, like I definitely do this. I feel like I need a lot more moisturizer than I actually do. But if we have way too much product applied to the skin and then we go in with a foundation, there's a good chance that our skin can't even fully absorb that much product. And then once your skin is kind of at max capacity, the product's just gonna be sitting there. And again, it makes everything slip and slide around or start to pill and flake off. So like a dime-sized amount of moisturizer is often enough to prep your skin. One that I think we all know, but we don't really take the time to think about it is vigorous blending. If you are just buffing away with a brush on your skin, pilling is gonna be almost inevitable. And honestly, it's just not the best way to apply makeup oftentimes. We'll talk about this more because I think it's really important, especially when thinking about our SPF layer. Pressing product into the skin is just as effective. Use your beauty blender to press in your foundation. Use your brush to very gently apply your foundation. We have good tools now. We don't need to be vigorous with our blending. And if you really feel like you need to be vigorous, maybe check out your foundation formula too, because you could also just be dealing with a foundation formula that is way too fussy. And lastly, hair is something that, I'm sorry, it causes makeup pilling. As someone with peach fuzz on my face and someone that also has sensitive skin, so I can't very readily shave it whenever I want to. For example, I oftentimes find that right on my temple, I get a lot of makeup pilling, and that's because I have a lot of peach fuzz there because my peach fuzz kind of extends from my brows over to my temples. So if my makeup is gonna start pilling, it very often will pill over here or like around my jawline because again, peach fuzz, like very common to have it along the jawline. So be cognizant of those areas where you have more hair because those are the areas where you need to be a little bit more sparing with your other skincare products, or just be sure that you're completely blending in those areas. It's going to take longer because you have to kind of get past that barrier of hair. You could also dermaplane, but like I'm not going to sit here and really recommend it because it can be so irritating for so many people. I would much rather you get into a good routine of just general exfoliating on your skin rather than necessarily talk about like the hair removal aspect. Let's talk about some skin prep routines for oily skin, normal skin. First of all, for oily skin, this is a hard one, but my best tip for you all would be find a mattifying sunscreen that you absolutely love. There are so many mattifying primers out there as well. Ones like the primer water from Danessa Myricks or even the one from One Size. Using these sparingly in areas where you get extra oily can definitely help you. But again, it is one of those things when you're adding a product on top of so many other items. For me personally, I would rather you guys find a mattifying SPF that works as a primer. I have a few recommendations for you guys as well. The Atute Airy Finish is really good. The Biore Aqua Rich is also great. The Misha All Around Safe Block sunscreen is great. If you have oily skin, feel free to leave some of your SPF favorites down below. You could even replace your moisturizer step with your sunscreen. Again, a lot of these sunscreens already have nourishing ingredients in them and a matte finish. That's the beautiful thing about Asian sunscreens is they have a lot more of the cosmetic elegance that we look for when prepping our skin for makeup, but also they have good skincare ingredients within them. So I would say if you really need to lock down your foundation for, like an event, for example, I would go with a very, very basic skincare routine. Utilize a mattifying primer just in the areas you really need it. And remember that there is an option potentially for you to skip moisturizer altogether and just go in with a sunscreen, or use your moisturizer and then go in with one of these truly mattifying primer products. I admittedly don't have oily skin, so I haven't tried the One Size Nudge Niacinamide for myself, but I've just heard really, really good things about it. So just wanted to let you guys know that. The sunscreens though, I have tried for myself. So for normal to combination skin prep, again, start with cleansed skin, and you can either go in with one of these milky toners that I've been talking about and use that in place of your moisturizer. And this is when you can start to finesse based on how much hydration you think you need. And then on top of that, use a very simple hydrating sunscreen that leaves you with the finish you're trying to get to. So if you want a very glowy, luminous kind of finish, go with a sunscreen that is going to leave you with the desired finish you're going for. So if you want something super luminous, you could always go in with the Mermaid SPF from Can Make. That's a really good Japanese sunscreen. My absolute favorites are the one from Isan, the Kiss Me Mommy, as well as the one from Isntree. Let's talk about primer specific products. And this is when we get back to the big sunscreen conversation. A lot of you guys have probably noticed that I haven't been recommending, again, specific primer products to then put on top of your sunscreen. A question I commonly get from you all is my primer messing with my sunscreen? Like, is it potentially affecting the coverage? And the short answer is, it probably is. There really is not a lot of research on this topic. There definitely should be. But here are my best tips when it comes to applying product and like specific primers on top of a sunscreen. Really try to pat product into your skin. If you, for example, wanted to go in with the Say Glowy Super Gel, I really love that one under makeup. Try applying it under your sunscreen or picking it up with your foundation sponge or a brush and then patting it into the skin. Rather than vigorously rubbing it into the skin, this can help to not mess with the SPF coverage as much. And again, like, it's really hard to tell how much it's messing with your SPF coverage. Like, there really is just not enough research. So that's when I would also say make sure you're applying the right amount of sunscreen every time and go with a higher coverage than you think you need. I wear SPF 50 every day. And in general, expect that you're going to have a lower dose of your SPF. Like, at the end of the day, we can't all be perfect, right? It is what it is. It's life. So when we're expecting a little bit less coverage as far as our sunscreen, we can do other things to make sure that we are taking care of our skin, whether that's bringing a hat, seeking out shade, or going inside. Another tip that I have for you guys, because I gotta be honest here, like, my Milky Emulsions and toners are something that I really love to have as like my last step in my makeup prep routine. But again, sometimes I really want to make sure that I'm still getting a good SPF coverage. Using one in a mister form can eliminate some of the rubbing that happens that can mess with the film that your SPF is forming on the skin. It's not perfect. None of this is perfect. And I definitely think that if you're worried about this, just be safe and use an SPF as a primer. But if you're going out and prepping your skin for like a long night out, I won't wear SPF and I will just load up on the cream skin, the Rogue Glazing Milk, and my absolute favorite, the Ilia face base. But oftentimes I'm also using these products within my skincare routine anyway. And what I think is really beautiful about a lot of these brands, they are creating skincare products with finishes that look really good with makeup. You know, like when Hailey Bieber says, like, the Rogue Glazing Milk just looks and lays so beautifully under makeup. Listen, this isn't sponsored, but like it's true. Products just perform really, really well for my skin. They're really keeps them soothed. They also look really great under makeup. So the next video that we have in this series is foundation. I can't wait to talk to you guys about foundation. Let me know any of your common pitfalls with foundation down below, anything you'd like me to cover and talk about. But thank you guys again so much for being here. If you found value in the video, definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one.